Welcome to another episode with the Commissioner, your host. Again, trying to guide you through this crazy fantasy football season to have some fun, but also win some championships. Gonna have my brother here with me, my
Hello,
league mate,
hello.
Vitali. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Week
you,
two.
Timothy.
Wow, it's in the books.
Yeah, my week didn't look much better than week one.
Well, a lot of players didn't look better in regards to their real life. It sucks about all these injuries. That's the biggest
Yeah,
takeaway from
three
week two.
major injuries. I got Godwin's out, Kittle, and Debo Samuel's still out. So
Well, you always talk about your team, your precious team.
I know, man. That's all I care about. I don't care about your team.
We lost Saquon Barkley. Christian McCaffrey's injured.
Right?
Half of the 49ers are gone. Like, who's going to play for those teams?
I don't know. But Devontae Freeman's hanging out with New York, right?
Yeah, that's the news so far. So they're going to need somebody. I mean, Dion Lewis is there. We're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about some of the waiver pickups, but Dion Lewis is there. They're
Correct.
going to try to bring Gallman back. He was the guy last year, but he wasn't really effective.
So you told me Freeman didn't visit the Eagles last week, but it says here he did.
Okay, well, I guess
So
he did. So I don't know
I
why.
was right. You were wrong. Why? Because they need a running back. They want someone good.
They have Miles Sanders, who's great. They have Boston Scott, who's a Sproles. They have Corey Clement.
Maybe they don't like them,
Maybe they know their
or
injuries are coming.
maybe Devontae Freeman can throw, and we just don't know he's actually a quarterback. And they're
Yeah,
looking to replace
Carson Wentz
Wentz
looked horrible again. Oh my
again. What
goodness.
is happening to him? He hasn't been the same.
The Eagles are just like a fire dumpster, just like the Jets. And the Jets, oh my goodness, just watching those two teams play, it's
Yeah, but
terrific.
the Jets have always sucked. Where the Eagles 3 seasons ago were a Super Bowl contender.
Okay, I understand that, but how can you get the Jets were bad and they went from bad to worse?
Well, that's the Jets. But again, Eagles. You, you can't say the Eagles have always sucked.
No, I
Like
mean,
with the Jets, you go like, yeah, they just have bad luck or they're just mismanaged or whatever excuse you want to throw. You can't throw that excuse in with the Eagles.
but one thing about the Eagles, they can turn things around. They've done that before. They have bad starts and turn things around. So, I mean, the injuries, right? I mean, that's a big thing to kind of
Who to
discuss
drop,
because,
who to keep.
yeah, I mean, you can drop by this time. Saquon Barkley's not coming back. McCaffrey's gone 4 to 6
That's got to be
weeks.
a tough drop, right?
Yeah, especially
Barkley.
your second round pick. It hurts. I don't have any Saquon Barkley, but
You want to do a moment of silence for Barkley owners? It's going to be okay
yeah. So, other
if you don't
key
have
injuries,
Barkley.
like again, like I said, half of the 49ers are missing. I
Mm-hmm.
think they're gonna start having tryouts from like, have you seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
And they have tryouts. So I think that might happen with the 49ers. Some teams, they might have, we
Just
can look there.
just open tryouts for anyone to come.
Hey, they might find some talent just to put somebody's bodies on the field because everybody's missing. So let's talk about some big games. I think a big game was that Cowboys coming back
Mm-hmm.
and beating the Falcons, and the Falcons not knowing what
Ooh,
to do on the onside kick.
correct.
I don't know if you knew this. They made onside kicks tougher to recover.
Yes, 2 seasons ago, right?
And it's like the entire team watched the ball roll
Mm-hmm.
and they could have touched it. They could have landed on it. They just waited rolling until the Cowboys fell on it. It's
I
just
think
like
they weren't. You're not allowed to touch it unless it goes 10 yards, right?
the other team.
Are you sure?
The other team, the
I thought
rule.
it's both teams.
No, the other team. No, the Falcons have the right to touch it early. That's why it's so hard to recover. They have enough time to touch it earlier than the Cowboys. The Cowboys have to wait, and
See,
it's like
I thought both teams have to wait until the ball
that
went
was
at least 10
that was
yards, and then
before because literally they were saying the Falcons could have grabbed the ball anytime. It's just crazy the way the Falcons lost again. I feel bad for them. I hate
Mhm.
the Cowboys, if anybody didn't know. So another big game, I think, if you watch that Sunday night game with Russell Wilson and Cam
Mhm.
Newton, just just like throw
Well,
the ball all over.
so I think both quarterbacks had over 40 points, right?
Yeah, 40 fantasy points. It depends on what league, what kind of system leagues you
Yeah,
play
but
in.
so both quarterbacks went off
Big
for
time.
points.
It was
Wow.
just one incredible game to watch. One takeaway from that Cowboys game is we were watching, and again, I'm a Michael Gallup owner, but the way they
Mhm.
were spreading the ball, I kind of want to share that. Amari Cooper, which usually is the guy who doesn't kind of, disappears, but this
Mhm.
year so far, he's been targeting the most. And then the tight end, the replacement for Jarwin from last week, his injury, Dalton Schultz, had the second highest targets. Then it was CeeDee Lamb, the rookie, which he had a great day.
Well, it looks
Then it
like
was then it was Michael Gallup and then Zeke with the
yeah, it
passing
looks
one.
like Gallup's not the Gallup of last year.
I still have hopes for him. I think it might change around, but CeeDee Lamb I thought would take away from Cooper,
He's
but
taken away
so
from
far
Gallup.
he's taking away from Gallup, and that's
Hmm.
it's a head scratcher right there. And
Well, it seems like if you have a wide receiver for the Cowboys and you get to choose Lamb versus Gallup, who are you going with?
right now,
Mhm.
I started Lamb in a few leagues, but looks like Lamb. I mean, he looks good
I
from
mean,
all the
it'd
wide
be hard not
receivers.
to start Lamb at this point, right?
No, I honestly, I have him in a few leagues, and I'm gonna start him. Like
Hmm.
it's just it's a head scratcher, but another head scratcher from this week and last week's waiver wire was Naeem Hines for the Indianapolis Colts. Literally, he
What
was
happened?
I don't know. They literally just decided it's like, okay, you're not gonna play. You're gonna get one catch for 4 yards, and you're
Hmm.
just not gonna play. It's the Taylor show, and I don't know
It
what it
really was.
was. It was, and I'm glad Jonathan Taylor's out there and he's getting the
Hmm.
carries. I think Naeem Hines, don't drop him. That's one thing I want to say. If you picked him up, if you paid the money, fab money, you picked him up, don't drop him. The game script kind of flowed against them because they were in the lead. But Naeem Hines is the third down back who's going to come in and catch passes. I think this was a fluky week. So do not drop Naeem Hines, please. Especially if they're behind. Naeem Hines is going to be the guy. So
So speaking of injuries, right? We have San Francisco, lots of players injured. Last week, you and I had a private conversation about Jordan Reed.
yes,
You
we
didn't
did.
have high hopes for him.
No, I did
I
not.
listened to your opinion and it bit me in the butt. Not that it would have made a difference for me this
Because
week,
you
but
lost, you lost.
yeah, I lost bad. I lost by like 40 points. So,
Yeah, it
but
was
still,
shocking. I was shocked. Again, there was some upside for him, but again, you don't know, right? You're going into a game
mhm,
scenario where this guy has not been with the team at all, has barely played week one. I know George Kittle is gone, so the
correct.
chances of him having an amazing game were slim. Again, two
Who
touchdowns
did
makes
Reed
it an amazing
play
game.
with last year?
He
It was
was
Ross?
injured. He's been injured for a while. He was with the
Got it.
Washington Redskins
He
for
was
a
with
long time.
you mean the Washington team?
Well, back then those Redskins,
Yes,
we
yes.
can't call them what they were in the
No, no,
past.
no, you cannot. You cannot. It's an evil name which should never be
Yeah, he
repeated
was a
again.
shocker. Again, there was a lot of tight end shockers. Mike Gesicki, who had a horrible week one, all of a sudden went for
Mm-hmm.
like over 100 yards, 8 receptions, and a touchdown for
Mm-hmm.
Miami. And then, do you know
Fitzpatrick, do you think he's the most underrated quarterback right now?
he's always been like that. He'll always be that guy who people are like, I don't know, don't start him, but he'll come out and he'll have a big game. He did that last year. He's that kind of type of
Well, he
quarterback.
did that last year towards the end of the year,
Like this game, they they stuck around with the Bills, which was shocking.
especially
We'll
with
talk
the
about
Bills
the Bills.
defense.
Yeah, with the Bills defense, which a lot of people probably started, was a top defense to start.
It was.
So it's
It
like
was a very disappointing defense.
you got all that going on, and so I think in the if it was kind of reversed where the Bills were really way up,
Hmm.
I think at that point, if it was just complete mess, that the whole team's going down, they'll bring in the rookies. So I think it's going to happen at some point. We don't know when, so that's why it's tough to start somebody from Miami. But Gasecki looks like he's the main guy there. So how about the passing? So one thing I mentioned to you earlier, we were talking about this. The teams that are passing more and the teams that are passing less. Let me give you the top five passing
Hold,
teams
hold on,
through the
hold on,
two
hold on, hold on.
weeks.
I think in general, all teams are passing more.
No.
When was the last time you saw any beginning of an NFL season with so much throwing?
Most seasons, again, people are still running the ball. Look, okay, let me give you the top passing teams, which
Hmm.
don't make any sense. The Bills, where they were heavily depending on the running game, with the running quarterback. They're the number one passing team right now.
Yep, and
Josh Allen's gone nuts.
it's costing
He
me a fortune.
he
Well, it's
caught.
costing me games.
Yeah, he beat me. He beat you last week, right?
Yep.
He beat me this week, and it's just like I don't know what to do. But again, he's amazing, and it's over 400 yards for Josh Allen. Seahawks, another run-heavy team from last year, back, and Russell Wilson already has 8 or 9. I don't know how many touchdowns he has anymore. Steelers.
Also, Wilson's completing these insane throws.
He's
For a short guy, he's throwing like 80 yards down the field. That's ridiculous.
Everybody knew he could do this, but they kept running the ball, and they're like, okay, let him loose, and look what happens.
Man,
So
that game was intense to watch.
I love that game. That was a good game to watch. And then the Steelers are passing. Well, Ben's there, so of course they're going to pass more. Cardinals with little Kyler Murray, little runner.
Okay, he's got to be the funniest player you've ever seen play the game, right?
He is
I mean, his legs don't go further than this, right? They don't go further than like half a foot apart.
Yeah. You know, he had more rushing yards than McCaffrey this week.
Really?
McCaffrey got injured.
Well, yeah.
And then,
hold on. I'm not done with Murray. Okay.
All right, go ahead. You talk about
Murray's a cartoon character, right? I mean, he takes off that helmet. His facial expressions are hilarious. All right. Anytime you can watch Murray and just, I don't know what he's saying half the time, but it's like, everything's exaggerated. And the way he runs, it looks like those Looney Tunes cartoons with the was a beep beep.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Where he's like,
he's like from a cartoon.
Yes, he's a cartoon that somehow entered our world and now plays
Okay, so
a
let me
quarterback in the
this.
NFL.
Kyler Murray has more rushing yards this year than Christian McCaffrey, has more rushing touchdowns than Ezekiel Elliott, and has more passing yards than Patrick Mahomes. So he's off to an amazing start. I think Hopkins there, again, he proved him. He's legit. One thing I also want to mention, and we talked about the Eagles, but Miles Sanders is back.
Mm-hmm.
He was let loose. So listen to this. He had 83% of the running back carries, 70% of the running back targets, 77% of the total snaps. He had 20 carries plus 7 targets. He was unleashed. He's the guy from last year. He's there. Miles Sanders, start him. All full on. Let's go, Miles Sanders.
Snappity snap snap.
Yeah.
I always get confused with Miles Sanders and the other Sanders.
Emmanuel Sanders?
Yeah.
The one that did nothing today?
The one that
the Saints lost. Yeah, let's talk about
right?
those Saints, and then we'll move on to the waiver wire pickups.
Okay, so everyone's saying Drew Brees isn't the same Drew Brees.
Without Michael Thomas.
Correct.
Yeah. Kamara is the primary of the focus of the offense. They did use Traquan Smith, which it looks like he played the role of Michael Thomas.
Correct.
But Jared Cook had a bad game. Emmanuel Sanders had nothing until the end. So people started Emmanuel Sanders.
Why is Emmanuel Sanders not being used more?
Again, I honestly think without having a preseason, without having these games where you can throw him out there for a few plays, just to have connections like they do. That third preseason game, they usually put starters out there for the first half.
Yeah, and
those things are important. And you could tell these new players, some of these new guys are just not fitting in. And so
kind of going back a little to what we were talking about earlier. So Kyler Murray, you said, has 158 rushing yards. Tied with Kareem Hunt. Total, correct. He's ranked 8th in the league. And I think Lamar Jackson's down at 28 with 99. So Cam Newton's at 122. So if you picked Lamar Jackson in round 1 this year.
Well, people didn't, but I know a few people that did. It's just that's my argument towards quarterbacks. Like, you cannot just look at 1 year and Lamar Jackson he's going to be great. This is not a bad take on Lamar. He's going to get up, but he's not going to be the same Lamar from last year.
You think defenses are just learning how to play against him and stopping him, or you think he's just not running as much?
I think it's both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, he wants to prove that he's a good,
I mean, he can throw
the ball. He can throw the ball.
Yeah.
So it's just
although they gave him a pretty difficult time this week.
Yeah. So going back to that quarterback, not drafting, especially in the one quarterback league, this is the reason why you don't draft the early quarterback, because you have Josh Allen was taken later in the rounds. People just pass them up, and he was
Josh
taken.
Allen was taken what, round 19, 18?
No, most leagues are around 15
Was he?
tops.
Okay.
No, people take him like around 10, 9. That's late for, I mean,
Hmm.
for him, he was considered to be, a good quarterback, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you can wait on quarterbacks and be okay because there's a lot of options out there.
Correct. Well,
So,
right now the rankings have it Allen, Ryan, Prescott, Bridgewater, Wilson, Rogers, Rivers.
see,
Rivers is number 7.
yeah, he threw a lot of passes this past game.
Hmm.
Exactly. So Jack Doyle rules, got injured, and this other guy came in, which his name is Mo Alley Cox, caught 5 passes for 111 yards.
Hmm.
So he might be another pickup if you were looking for a tight end to pick up.
How long
So
is
we're going to
Doyle
go over
out
that.
for?
We don't know. So kind of monitor that. I didn't really look up Jack Doyle's because he wasn't really relevant for fantasy. So those guys I don't really pay attention to.
Also, do you think tight ends are just in general being used more this season than the past couple of seasons?
Yeah, but it's like you can't hit on them. Like Mike Gesicki last week, nothing. This week, something.
Hmm.
Hurts from Atlanta, nothing last week. This week went off.
Yep.
But that always does happen with the tight ends. It's just,
Not as
it's,
much. I mean, if we look at tight ends for week 2, okay. Um Gasecki 25 points, Smith, Reed.
how
Um,
many of those are started, right?
correct. I mean, these are just people off our waiver wires. So I don't even have the entire list, but
It's same thing. It's just, it's hard. Like Logan Thomas is still a good player. He's being second targeted.
I mean, Gasecki for receiving is ranked 13 in the league right now,
Yeah,
right?
because of his huge game that he had this week. Last week,
Hunter Henry is ranked 17. Travis Kelsey is down at 23, and Noah Fant is 24.
here is the difference.
Hmm.
Kelsey is somebody you can start and know that he's not going to let you down. The biggest thing with tight ends is having consistency. Kelsey is consistent. Back-to-back touchdowns, has a bunch of receptions, almost is targeted by Mahomes as pretty much his number one target.
Hmm.
That's where I think even a Kittle or Mark Andrews had a bad game. Um, but I'm trying to think of other consistent, like even Darren Waller today. Literally, these guys are consistent. So they were drafted earlier for their consistency. So you'll always have these guys. Mike Gesicki get a bunch of points in week 2, but look at his week 1. So you want to look for consistency in tight ends. But that's the cool thing. What you just said is we're trying this out, right? One guy goes up, one guy goes down. Hopefully, we can find that gem that will be consistent. That's the key to fantasy
Correct.
with any position,
I
right?
mean, we are in week 2, granted. So,
Exactly, and we're learning. So this is what you do. You learn from week 1 to week 2.
mhm.
You'll start somebody. They won't do anything.
I mean,
Watch this.
Mike Evans is ranked 50th in the league right now. So,
Yeah, but again, he had a really bad first week.
correct.
So going
All I'm
back,
saying is that's not going to last long.
let's go back. I'll give you one more example. Jordan
Mhm.
Reed, right? If you
Correct.
start him next week, he has a chance to give you a big nothing. And then Logan Thomas, the guy who
Who
didn't
I
have a good
started this
game,
week and gave me big nothing.
and he can go up and have a good game. This is the problem with tight ends. So
Correct.
you want to keep finding the people who are getting
Although
targeted.
I think as long as Kittle's out, Reed's got a chance.
Since we're on tight ends, you want to do the tight ends for pickup for waiver pickup this week?
Sure. Who do
My
we
number
have?
one guy is Mike Gesicki because he was highly rated from coming into the year. He
Hmm.
had a bad week 1,
Well,
and
granted, Miami had a bad week 1, right?
yeah. So it
So
looks like Miami's figuring things out too. So you want to know that hey, they're figuring out. So for me, Mike Gesicki is a pickup. You don't want to pay too much fab unless you're desperate for a tight end.
mhm.
Like I paid a lot of fab for Goddard, and he had an okay week, but it's not good compared to other tight ends. But I know he's going to be using that system because he has a history. So Mike Gesicki is number 1. Number 2 is Dalton Schultz, the guy from Dallas. I think he's a good pickup. Don't pay too much fab for him if you're in fab leagues. Number 3 again is Logan Thomas. If you have him
Mhm.
on, just keep him. If you need a tight end,
Who's
keep
the
him.
tight end they had last year in Dallas?
In Dallas, they
Mhm.
had Witten came back from retirement.
Correct. But he's gone.
And yeah, so Jarwin was supposed to be the guy there. He's so good. Sucks he got injured. Number 4 is Jordan Reed. I think Jordan Reed is a good pickup. And just watch, since Kittle will be out again, it's not a bad start to put Jordan Reed in there. But again, you're hoping for that touchdown because he didn't have that many yards.
Correct.
And my fifth one is Mo Alley Cox. As long as Doyle is out, Mo Alley Cox. Again, we know Phillip Rivers likes tight ends,
Mm-hmm.
so he looked good. So those are the tight end
Likes his
waiver
tight
waiver
end,
picks.
or he likes his end tight.
Not his own.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
All right.
All right.
You want
Moving
to do
on
the
from
running
tight ends.
backs since there's a lot of running backs.
Okay. Running back story.
Let's get through the running backs because I feel like this one's the.
Okay, Daryl Henderson. Do you think he's their go-to guy now?
I think so. What happened this week, and this is what I'm thinking. This is what kind of game script. So you
Mm-hmm.
have Malcolm Brown going down with injury. He's not out. He's not ruled out. Akers might be ruled out. He had a rib injury. I saw it. When the guy fell in. Okay, whatever.
So Akers is out.
Akers will probably be out maybe a few weeks. The rib injury has to heal on its own. We don't
But
know how
even
long it's
even
going to
week
take.
week one, Akers didn't. I mean, 39 yards.
Yeah, but Akers, his snap count, his targets, even this game, it looked like Akers was going to dominate until he went down with injuries. Now, it looks like Daryl Henderson will take over the job. That's what it looks like to me. Malcolm Brown was never their guy, anyways. So they
Mm-hmm.
were trying to bring Henderson. He had an amazing game. I think he's the
So
number
why
one
didn't they
waiver pickup.
use Henderson as much in week one?
Because when they put Malcolm Brown out there, if you watch that game, they put Malcolm Brown out there, he just ran over everybody. Big body guy, ran over everybody, and they just sometimes you go with the hand. Look, running back's doing well. Why risk anything else, right? Bring in
Okay.
the rookie, give him some snaps.
So last year, for the entire season, he had 23 fantasy points.
He wasn't used because Gurley was there.
In that one game, he almost tied his whole record for last season.
Yeah.
So
Again, Rams look like they're trying to bring him back into the mix. And so he's my number one waiver pickup for running backs. So if you need a running back, Christian McCaffrey owners, start putting your bids, right? Those fat bids.
Speaking of running backs, I don't know how he's your number one compared to Dion Lewis. Barkley's out
Dion
for
Lewis
good.
is older.
Correct.
He's on a team that has a bad offensive line. It just, look, Saquon Barkley didn't do anything week one. I know it's a tough defense. And week two, so for me, again, Dion Lewis is a good pickup, but he's not my number one. Daryl Henderson looks like he might get the job, especially with Akers being injured.
Mm-hmm.
So he's my number one pickup.
Okay.
Number two.
I mean, hold on before we get
right.
before we get done with Lewis, right? Devontae Freeman.
If he signs, that's another reason not to want to pick up Dion Lewis and pay all this fab money, right? Because what if Devontae Freeman comes in? He might be better. He's a little younger.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to be very careful.
Might be better. Devontae Freeman's a good running back.
He's a good running back, but his last year didn't look good. He looks like he lost a step last year.
Well, was that him or was it the team he was on as well?
It might have been the team because Todd Gurley. Well, again, Todd Gurley can't really compare. He's got a bunch of injuries and he doesn't look good on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it could be the team. So I would love to see Devonta Freeman on the Giants. So that'd be nice.
Do you think, just in case, is he a good pickup for this week?
Oh, I'll get to it. So he is a pickup. Every league should pick up right now Devonta Freeman. Until we know for sure that no team signs him, then just drop him. He should be a pickup, like a last waiver pickup. So again, Daryl Henderson, number one. Number two for me is Jerick McKinnon.
If he's available. Not available.
A majority, again, I think he was rostered in like 32% of CBS leagues. Not every league gives you percentages, but he's still out there. So Jerick McKinnon last year did well with the three-header because they had three running backs. It looked like he was the number two. Coleman was kind of pushed back. Now, Mostert, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Coleman's going to be out at least a few weeks. McKinnon's a good pickup. Definitely he looks good. He's healthy. Number three, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm going.
All right. Number three, Mike Davis from the Panthers. He had 8 receptions after McCaffrey got injured. This team will be behind. He's the guy they're going to throw to. So for me, he's another good waiver pickup for McCaffrey owners. So target Mike Davis.
Especially now that McCaffrey's gone, 4 weeks at least?
At least 4 weeks. They're saying 4 to 6 weeks. But McCaffrey came out and said, hey, I'm going to work hard to get back earlier, which that happens to certain players.
I mean, you can say whatever you want, but until you get cleared to play, you're not going to play.
Yeah. So
you say, I want to play next week. Yeah.
Keeping our fingers crossed for McCaffrey to come back earlier. But Mike Davis is a good pickup. Again, he's not a long-term pickup. I think maybe Daryl Henderson might be a long-term pickup.
But if you get Mike Davis, that's 3-4 weeks of decent fantasy.
At least, you won't fall behind. So Number 4 is Dion Lewis. We talked about him, and Devonta Freeman's there. So number 4, 5
Okay.
for me are those. Number 6 is Miles Gaskins from. Sorry, Miles. I keep saying Miles Gaskins. Miles Gaskin from the Miami Dolphins. Last week, remember I mentioned, oh no, not to you, but I did a waiver show.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned his name. Just look for him. It looks like they increased his targets. He's the guy there, so he should be picked up. He had 13 touches, 82 yards, and 6 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
He's another guy to pick
Well,
up.
he,
Looks like
he
he
had
might
he
be
had
the number one.
46 rushing yards, 36 receiving, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then Joshua Kelly, if he's still on your waivers,
Which I don't think he is in any league, right?
he's still out there.
He is. What are you guys doing?
You
What are you doing?
tell
You're
them.
playing like
Tell
are you
them.
playing a 7-man league or something? What's going on?
He
7-team
literally,
league.
it's going to be 50-50 between these two guys. And Joshua Kelly looks good.
He looks beyond good. He
And
looks like every time I see Eckler do something crazy, I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to use Eckler. And then Joshua Kelly comes out and does the same thing, but kind of better. And you're like,
so guess who the number one run most heaviest team is right now in the league?
hold
Since
on.
we're talking about Joshua Kelly.
This. I have to. Hold on. What is the Los Angeles
500,
Chargers?
500 for, I'll take 500 for the Chargers.
500 for the no. What is the Chargers?
The Chargers. That is correct. Chargers are number one running
I'll
team.
take 200 for.
Like, it blew my mind, right? So I'm excited. Number 2 is the Patriots running team because of Cam Newton. Number 3 is the Vikings. We all knew the Vikings were going to, they always run the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Titans, we knew that. And the Browns, surprisingly, which is not bad. The Browns.
Well,
So
no, I mean, they have 2 amazing running backs. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
Yep. You have Chubb and Hunt.
And they both can rush, and Hunt can catch.
Oh, does Hunt catch?
Oh, I love it. He's so good.
I mean, he's not available, right?
He's not available. He was drafted early, too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to go to wide receivers?
Sure. I don't want to, but I guess we will.
There's not a lot of wide receivers around. Again, number one, if Robbie Anderson is out there, he's been targeted 2 games in a row a lot. I know he was picked up last week. Robbie Anderson for the Panthers, pick him up. He looks like he's the second guy there behind DJ Moore. With McCaffrey gone, they might, throwing Mike Davis, but they might start using their wide receivers more. Robbie Anderson looks like if he's available, pick him up. Number 2 for me is MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling from my Packers.
He kept dropping the ball.
It's okay. Look, Rodgers keeps going to him. I think Rodgers this season, it feels like he's saying, okay, they didn't get him any help. Adams was gone. He might. We'll talk about Adams, but it looks like
now
Rodgers
if Adams
wants
is out next week, is Lazard a starter?
Lazard and MVS will be starters. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but Adams looks like he's going to be in next week. It is a Sunday night game. Looks like what the coach came out for the Packers and he said that he did have a hamstring injury, but he could have come back if they needed him to. But because they were up so much at that point, they kind of held him back. And so you could tell he was walking on the sideline. He wasn't stretching. So those are the reports. Just monitor his injury. But even starting MVS right now would be interesting. It's not all weeks, but even they're playing the Saints. Look, Adams is going to get a lot of coverage. I think looking from what happened in this game with the Raiders, I think they're going to start using MVS. Looks like Rodgers is just saying, hey, I like this guy.
Well, MVS also does the deep throws, right? So
he gets the deep catches.
If he catches that 80-yard pass
or
for
2
a touchdown,
80-yard passes, that can definitely happen in any game. So he's a big boom player.
So
boom or
not
bust,
so much for PPR leagues, but if regular leagues or
even in our tier PPR,
tier PPR, because of the tier PPR, right?
So, number 3 for me is what the guy you talked about last week, Russell Gage,
who I did pick up in one of my leagues.
Look, Julio Jones got injured. He was hobbling. They still kept him out there.
Also, do you know how much I paid for Gage?
$1?
What is 0?
There you go.
What is 0?
See? So you want to beat the waivers sometimes, right? You want to look ahead. And look, again, that offense is going off.
Ryan throws. He's just throwing.
The running game isn't working there.
Season ever, huh?
So the running game isn't working there.
No, he's throwing, and again, Gage had a good few weeks. So I don't. If Ryan keeps throwing at this rate, he becomes a WR2, right?
He might be, but again, if Julio Jones is back out there, it's so hard for me to start
Even
somebody
with
like that.
Julio Jones out there, if you don't have better options, especially for a dynasty
But
league
then,
like
then there's
ours.
Hurst that went off. Julio Jones had a really bad game. He could have caught a touchdown.
Correct. Do you think
So
Ridley's becoming the new Julio Jones, or is it just
Ridley is just, I don't know if anybody can like manage. Again, I think it's also because Julio Jones is out there. Take Julio Jones
Mhm.
away, Ridley might get all the
the
coverage,
coverage? Yeah,
and then Gage and Hurst are going to just.
possibly. Okay.
So I don't want Julio to go out. I love
All
Julio
right. Number
Jones.
4. And this is interesting. Golden Tate. Why?
Why? Sterling Shepard got injured. Golden Tate last year, sneaky
Mhm.
PPR, sneaky guy for PPR. Now you don't have Barkley there. Sterling Shepard is gone. The top targets are going to be Slayton's going to be the deep guy. They're going to use Evans, the tight end, for the short passes in the middle of the field. And PPR Golden Tate last year, he was underrated, but he did well for fantasy. So
Now,
he's
he is on my team.
there. You
Do have
go.
to say.
See, on your
So
dynasty team, right?
no, my regular team
There
as
you
well.
go.
Yeah.
Hey, he was drafted. He was a late flyer draft just because you never know. With Sterling Shepard going down, I think
Yeah.
he
I
needs to be
picked up.
rostered.
So I picked up Golden Tate early, hoping that he might do something. In these last 2 weeks, not much happening, but week 3 against San Francisco, their defense looked good despite all the injuries.
It was the Jets. It was the Jets. Look, going back to the Jets. So remember I talked about Chris Herndon, the tight end. He might
Mhm.
get the most targets.
Correct.
There was nobody else to throw to. Perriman went down.
Mm-hmm.
The coach Adam Gase. This guy needs to be fired. He literally started using Chris Herndon, their best pass catcher at this point, to block. Who?
I don't know.
I'm shocked. And everybody's going off. And I don't know. The Jets are, if you're a Jets fan, I'm sorry. What? The whole team needs to be flipped around. They have decent players. They have a good rookie quarterback. Well, not rookie, but he was a rookie last year.
Now, if you pick up Tate, do you start him right away or do you wait?
It depends. It depends who you have. So that's the part that we're going to get to next week and say, who do I start? Do I start this guy or this guy? The
Okay.
matchup isn't not easy, but again, there's a lot of injuries in San Francisco in the secondary. There's a lot of injuries now with their pass,
Mm-hmm.
the guys who pass rush. Bosa's gone for the season. Look, that team's defense is completely just falling apart. So in this game, I would still would have the Giants throw the ball. The Giants are going to throw the ball. Who's going to run the ball? Dion Lewis is not going to run the ball. Devonta Freeman, even if it comes in, he's not going to run the ball that much. They're
So
going to try.
Sherman's out, Bosa's out. So now any quarterback's going to get at least 3-4 more seconds, right?
They're gonna get more time to throw. And again, the Giants are not that great. Their offensive line is not that great, but they're gonna throw the ball. And Golden Tate's the short guy to throw it to, so he
Mm-hmm.
might be a sneaky
How
start.
long is Sherman out?
I
Not
don't know. I have
Sherman,
to.
but
Yeah, I know what
Shepard.
you're talking about.
How long is Shepard out for?
Shepard looks like a couple of weeks. So
Okay.
Sterling Shepard might be out a couple. Just monitor his injury. I think it's a toe injury.
So you have
Toes
this.
sometimes linger.
Your number 5 pick is Pittman Jr.
Michael Pittman.
Right.
Michael Pittman Jr. is a rookie. Big target. Again, we talked about Rivers. He likes big targets. Him and Hilton. So
Mr. Pittman.
Michael Pittman Jr.
Mhm.
T.Y. Hilton's things are not working out, and Paris Campbell, the second guy there, he was a waiver pickup last
He's
week,
out.
got injured.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we talked about Cox, the tight end, and I think Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be a nice little sneaky pickup, which he should be owned. And the last one, this one, I just put it in there because I love this guy. I was watching the Raiders have a lot of weapons. Like they have so many weapons they're using in this game. But Brian Edwards, the rookie, he looks so good. I loved him coming out of college. I like the fact he went to the Raiders. They just have a lot of these guys who hopefully they just start putting them aside and start using Brian Edwards. So don't pick him up he's not a must pick up, but he's a sneaky guy to kind of just, if you have room on your bench, pick him up and stash him because he might have a breakout season. I said in the beginning, the first podcast I ever did, he's just sneaky and all right.
Now here's someone you didn't put on the list that
All right.
I think might be a good idea. Claypool.
So with Claypool, you have to also understand that there's Juju had a bad game. He didn't have
Mm-hmm.
his greatest game. Ben Roethlisberger was supposed to have this amazing game. He didn't. Deontay Johnson looks like he was targeted most. He's been targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Juju's there. He throws to his running backs. Again, Eric Ebron hasn't taken off. Eric Ebron is a great big body tight end that Ben sometimes uses tight ends. So Claypool, I just not yet. Right. He had that long touchdown. That's what he had. You're
Mm-hmm.
talking about the long touch. He had a long touchdown. So he's not the most targeted guy in the team, but he looks good too. He's just you watch Claypool, dude, that guy looks good. He might be their
He does, and he's a rookie, right? First
he's a
season.
rookie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll finish on streaming quarterbacks if you need a quarterback and streaming defenses. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Streaming quarterbacks, Gardner Minshew, Thursday night, Miami. What a good start. Minshew looks good. So if you need a quarterback to start, he's my number one guy. He's mostly available. Pick him up and start him. Number two, which Justin Herbert looked good for the Chargers. He's a pickup, but the coach came out and said that Taylor, if he's not injured, he's still our starter. I have no
Correct.
clue
Which
why.
is Taylor's also a young guy, right?
He's been around. Tyrod Taylor's been around. He's not like an
But he
old quarterback.
wasn't. I mean, he wasn't their go-to. They were gonna try both of them out this year, right?
The goal was to bring Herbert, but looks like it's right pregame decision. Something happened. There's some kind of injury. I don't know if they're making
Well,
it
he
up. I
went
don't
to
know.
Taylor went to the hospital.
I didn't
What
hear
I
that.
heard.
Oh.
Yeah.
So hopefully Herbert gets the start and just keeps the job because he looked good against a KC defense that's legit.
Correct. He looked great against the Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, and Keenan Allen with Herbert looked wow. I was
Right?
looking at Keenan Allen, I was like, and Keenan Allen's amazing. So I hope Herbert stays there. See, that's another guy to pick up. A sneaky play this week is Mitch Trubisky playing against the Falcons.
Well, is it because Atlanta's just shit?
Yeah, and then it looks like he's throwing the ball a lot. Looks like they're Mitch Trubisky is.
Well, he's trying to keep his.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he wants to
That
keep his
fire,
spot. Yeah,
that fire, he's under fire, and maybe that's what they paid him all those money for Nick Foles to keep.
it was motivation money for Trubisky to
Exactly.
play.
All right, so
and the most important thing before we get into defenses, I think we should talk about kickers.
Oh, yeah? Oh, kickers, yes. Start all your kickers.
Yeah, I think you should start kickers as your flex. All flex positions should go to kickers.
The more you say kickers, the more I'm getting like boiled up inside.
I mean, kickers, man.
Can I ask you a question? Let's see if you know this. So whoever's listening, listen to this, okay? Kickers, are they part of the offense or what are they part of the defense? Who are they part of on the team? Special teams.
They're special.
They're special
teams, special needs.
So for me, that's just, oh man. All right. Start
defense.
The kicker of the week should be, look, I have to play kicker, so I started Koo for the Falcons.
Oh, I was going to say Koo, right?
Start him because
he's the only Korean kicker, and I think
he's good.
A great thing to start. No,
and they're indoors. Good. Yeah, so they're indoor. I like indoor kickers. Just no wind, nothing like that. You don't have to worry about things like that.
Got it. All right, defense.
All right, defense. Number one defense to stream is whoever plays the Jets. And that's actually a good team coming up. It's the Colts. They're playing the Jets. Start the Colts everywhere. Pick them up everywhere. Start them in. Start them.
So is that true for anybody who's playing the Jets that week?
Yes, I think so far. If the team is legit, start any team.
Even if it's
I don't know
Benny?
what the Jets are doing. Even who?
Even if it's Benny.
Benny who?
And the Jets.
Benny and the Jets. I see your little joke. All right. So start the Colts this week. That's my number one defense.
Bad jokes on this program.
They did well against the Vikings too, so they had a good week. Number two is the Chargers. They're playing the Panthers without Christian McCaffrey again. Panthers are a mess. So the Chargers are actually a decent defense. They have the Bosa brother, the one that's not injured. He's there. Number three is actually the Washington football team playing the Browns. The Browns, again, they're prone to turnovers. And on the other side of that, the Browns are actually a decent defense. Looks like they look good as a defense. They've stepped it up. So
you think it's
those are the streamers.
Scoring games for both.
Yeah.
I don't know if you really want to play against the. I don't know. Cleveland looks good.
They look good, but they played a Bengals defense that was beat up and not really good. So
So Buffalo, are we just giving up on them? They're
No,
ranked super high.
no,
Buffalo
they're
defense.
no, they're a legit defense. Start them.
They're playing the
Um,
Rams.
it's a tough start, but I still start them.
Okay. Oh,
Turnovers.
already.
Yeah.
Before we sign out or sign off or whatever. Um, the Raiders Stadium. Wow, right?
Kinda. Which one do
No,
you like better, the LA Rams Chargers or
I don't know
the
if it's the fake grass thing the Raiders have or just like the black enclosion that kind of makes it look cool, or the black
inside looks
seats.
good, but remember I told you the outside looks like the thing that cleans up trash. The thing,
Yes, it looks like a giant vacuum. Well,
what do they
the
call those? See, I can't
what are
remember.
they called? The
Zumba? No,
Z- Zumba, no?
I don't know.
Roomba,
Roomba. It
Roomba.
looks like a big Roomba.
Yeah, it looks like a giant Roomba, but from the inside, it looked amazing.
No, the way
The
they had.
Chargers, new stadium, the Rams and Chargers stadium. From the inside, it looks all right. It looks
I,
great from the outside.
yeah, I like both,
I
and
mean,
it's nice.
also it's in ground, right? It's underneath the
Yeah,
ground.
they did a good job of putting that stadium together. I do
It
like
was also
black.
the most the. Are you talking about Raiders or Chargers?
The
LA or
Raiders. I like the black. The
the
black
black? I
looks
think makes
looks
it look
good.
nice. I mean, I know there's no fans and stuff in the stands, but it looked like
But did you see
legit.
that fire thing where
Yeah.
it looks like into the strip?
Mm-hmm.
That just it's a great. They
It
did a great job with that
it's going to
stadium.
be one of the top stadiums to visit. I think once you can actually visit stadiums.
Yeah.
Whereas the Chargers, at least the grass looked way better. Just the way the field, the layout, how close the crowd looks. I mean, or at least the seats look. Just as far as a stadium goes to watch a game, it seems like it's going to be a great one. Although LA Stadium did cost a fortune, 5.8 billion, I think,
Yeah, both are
and
like in the billions.
yeah, and Las Vegas paid like 2.8 or 3. So just a couple billion less.
All right. So
Also, LA's in Inglewood. Inglewood.
not a lot of room in downtown LA. All
Talk to
right.
you later.
Hey, good luck, guys.
Bye.
Again, week 3. Let's go.
It's gonna be
No
great.
injuries, please. Please
Okay.
stretch. Just be careful. Pray for everybody. All right.
Just trying
Until
not
next
to get
time.
hurt.